Happy Monday, and we are live. How is Monday going for you all? So I'm back this Monday at 8 o'clock. Last Monday, I was out and about in nature. So I did it a little bit early, but this Monday, back on schedule. And so I'm excited to share with you what I have found to be two big factors that hold people back from healing. I'm hoping that by talking about this, it will inspire people who have been, having these things hold them back, know that it's okay, and to, just trust the process and begin that healing journey after trauma or heartbreak. So, one thing that a lot of people have said to me since I started doing speaking about even and asking people if they would like to be part of the group or part of my email list or even would like to work with me, the actual number one thing that people have said is time. But there is a good thing about time. Hi, whoever just joined. I don't know if you know this, you can drop in the chat yes or no if you knew this. There are 10,080 minutes every week. So actually, we have way more time than we probably realize. So since there is time in the day, now sometimes that part of that time is spent sleeping. Part of that time is, like our responsibilities for feeding ourselves or family, the cooking, the providing by, either working for yourself, going to work or whatever. But there is time. And we have more time than we realize. And if we can rearrange it, and once we become aware of, our time, it can be rearranged and it can be adjusted in order to make time. Now, what I personally have done in my past is when I was really hurting, I made myself very busy. So the busier I was, that did two things for me. One, I was just too busy to have to think about what I was trying to avoid thinking about and dealing with. And two, being busy kind of validated me. It gave me some sense of self-worth, and it gave me a feeling of being in control of things that that were out of my control. So it was like, well, I can't control, what happened to me, but I can control now going forward, so I can be busy. So now I have heard a lot of people say to me after they, and not even just say to me, but even just say in like podcasts and different things I've listened to, that like after they started working on their healing journey and like moving forward, they actually would say, well, being busy was something that I was hiding behind. So I would invite you to ask yourself, if I'm saying I don't have time to, work on my own personal self-care, work on my self-love, work on my healing journey, if I don't have time, ask yourself, why is it that you feel you don't have time? Is it that daily life is just kind of overwhelming you and maybe there's just some time management strategies that you need to put in place in order to make the time? Or are you using time as an excuse and keeping yourself busy as an excuse to avoid having to, sit in some very uncomfortable emotions that you are trying to avoid? Now, typically, this is the second factor that will hold us back, that held me back for years. So, the situation that occurred with me and this person that I had ended a relationship with, but had then chosen to rape me. That took place in May 2016. I kept myself busy and I avoided what was going on. And even though I knew that I needed help, and even though I had started praying to God about, what should I do, how to go about things, it was not until February of 2018. It was a little less than 2 full years, almost 2 years, before I said out loud into just the air, not even to a person in particular, before I just said out loud, I was raped. And that took a lot of courage for me. It was very, 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 very scary for me to say those words out loud, because I was just like in such a place of shame, and I was afraid, and I was so embarrassed that anyone would know, and it had this power over me that kind of controlled me and really pulled my self-esteem about myself down, because I was hiding it. And to a couple close friends, as well as someone who I had attempted to build a relationship with, I had actually lied to them about what happened to me. And I had said I had been sexually assaulted. I didn't actually tell the full truth, which was it was actually rape. Or I said he tried to sexually assault me. I didn't actually say he sexually assaulted me or he raped me. So this really was something that I was ashamed of. I did not want to have to deal with the fact that I had been a liar. And actually, even lying isn't always just not speaking the truth. It can also be withholding the truth. So I was also kind of lying to myself. I was in denial about really what had happened to me. So a lot of times this fear and this shame becomes so powerful in our minds that it causes us to, just be busy and not make time to have to deal with it. So that is the second biggest factor. Now, this can go on for years. People have things that have happened to them 20 years ago, 40 years ago, right? Even like a couple years ago. They're carrying them with them. These are secrets, right? When you have a secret that's painful, but you're trying to avoid, it can be very heavy on your heart. It can be very heavy on your mind. You could be thinking about, like, what are people going to say about me? Like, how are my friends or family going to think about me? Are they going to judge me? A lot of times Christians feel that they're going to get judged by other people in the church. And rightfully so. There are family members, there are friends, there are other Christians who do judge people. But at the end of the day, worrying about how someone was going to judge me, what they might think about me, that actually became way more hurtful to me, way more damaging to me, to my self-esteem, to my self-confidence, to what I felt I was worthy of and what I believed about myself, than if anyone had ever judged me or talked about me. And maybe people, now that I've started talking, maybe people are judging me, and maybe they are thinking things about me. I don't care. It's not actually my business how someone judges me. It's not my business how someone thinks about me, good or bad, actually, to be honest. That's their prerogative. But what I'm responsible for, what I have to do is choose. Do I want to carry this heaviness, these things in my mind that are really holding me back, that are blocking me from everything? And do I want to carry this with me in my heart and my mind for the rest of my life? Or do I want to make the time, deal with it, as uncomfortable and awkward as it is? Which do I want to be? And then be free. So healing is a risk. It's scary because honestly, it's like a process that, it's like, well, what's going to happen if I say out loud, this happened to me? Like, what if I say that secret that, like, has been in my family for years? Or what's going to happen It's scary. But at the end of the day, for me, facing that fear was a huge, huge lift off of my shoulders. That was actually when I really started to be able to heal, was just speaking out loud the words of what had happened to me. And that was like, it was like things opened up. I wasn't speaking to anyone about it. I was still afraid to tell any of my friends, right? And go back and share anything vulnerably. But I was able to be honest with myself. And once I was able to be honest with myself, I could start then doing the work to being free. So once we choose to let that fear and shame go, once we choose to make time for it, we can begin. And what I did was I was having to begin to form new thought patterns. I had to, I had an identity, then there was rape and heartbreak, and then I lied about it, and then things were just like really painful for me. I had a new identity that I created as this like liar, this like worthless thing, and I had to like reform it. I had to transform my thoughts, my thought patterns. I had to learn new ways of thinking, right? I actually had to redefine my identity. And, this was my experience, right? So redefining identity after rape or a heartbreak, that can be one experience versus, like a domestic violence situation or someone who was like emotionally abusive. It could even be a friend, whatever it happens to be, right? Each process is going to be a little bit different, but the benefit is you get freedom. So you get freedom from living a double life. Like I was living a double life. I looked like I was performing in life, and I was functioning in life, but inside I was scared, I was afraid, and I was covering things up. So how do you think that worked in my friendships? Or if I had dated anyone, it would have been no good. It would have been this continual cycle of being a double life, having like this hidden thing that was pretty significant about myself, and feeling free from the pressure. When you start stepping out and healing and letting go of that shame, you are free. You have let it out into the atmosphere, and there's now no going back. And so for me, I was not having to worry about like pleasing people or looking perfect, right? Because I was able to face the fact that I wasn't perfect. I was forming new thought patterns and transforming my mind and my thoughts and my perspectives so that I didn't need to, have to cover things up. So now, right, if I was out on a date with someone, for instance, because this is like, something that's like really personal, and I wouldn't be like, maybe I would because I'm talking about it on a Facebook Live. But it's not like a first date conversation, but now I'm in a place of healing. So it's okay. I'm able to be comfortable with myself because I actually know what my value is, because I know what my worth is. I can go out and I can talk to someone and have a conversation without worrying about like, how much can I say? How do I cover this up? How do I avoid certain topics? Because relationships are, intimate, even with friendships, platonic friendships. So not having that pressure to be perfect or to please people. And also, it just boosts that self-esteem. It boosts that self-confidence. So what is exciting is, for me, is that I have used this. I have gone through this process. And if I'm going to be honest, right, healing is a journey. I still sometimes, get triggered by certain situations or certain things, right, and kind of want to go back in and hide a little bit. But having tools and strategies for knowing how to, work through that fear, knowing how to remember and fight for, my value and stand up for myself and, be honest about my past. That's like a huge thing. And knowing how to think about myself without shame. So these are some things that I also can help you with if you would like, any support with how to, transform your thinking so that you are free from that shame, that fear. I also can even help you. Maybe you're comfortable with feeling that those emotions and like you've actually started the process, but you really don't have a whole lot of time because there are some, really pressing responsibilities that you do have. I can even work with you on just, reorganizing and reallocating your time just so that you can figure out, where to make room for that self-care, that self-love, and that time that you need for your own healing journey. So if you would like, you can send me a private message and I will be happy to set up a time to chat with you and see how I can support you. Because like I said, I have worked through it, and I think that, that fear of judgment, that's not something that I have. I've already judged myself. I've learned it gets nowhere fast in the healing. So, if you're looking for, just someone to work through the process with, that's, safe, where it's, judgment free. You don't have to pretend to be perfect, because trust me, I am not perfect. Without that judgment, I can offer you that as well. So I hope that this helps you. I hope this encourages you. If you have not been making time and keeping yourself busy as a way to kind of like hide and delay facing those feelings of fear and shame, I hope this little video will help encourage you to, push out and take that first step to, getting on your way with your healing journey. So I wish you a wonderful evening, and you all know where to reach me. You can just tap in my DMs if you need anything, or in the comments below. All right. Have a wonderful Monday evening. Peace.